Okay, so for today's video, we're doing something slightly different. Now, normally when I do videos, I'm either standing in a river or I'm looking next to a river doing a bit of panning. One of the most important things, though, when you are starting out panning is to kind of know where you're going, because there's no point in going to a river that has no gold in it. I've known loads of rivers that has no gold. In fact, I can even look at a river, and I can tell you within a few seconds where there's gold in it. So what I'm going to do today is just have a quick look through some mapping programs that are freely available that anyone can use. For this particular example, I could have picked any river in Ireland. I'm using the Irish mapping program, so it has to be Ireland. So for this particular example, I've picked the Devil's Glen. Now everybody who's seen any of Jamie's videos knows that he was up in Devil's Glen one day. I've been up to Devil's Glen a few times. There is little small spickles, little bits of gold there. It's a good place to get started. As I say, it's just kind of one example for this video. So what you can see here is this is just the standard Google Maps. You can, if you wanted to, using a laptop, you can go into 3D mode, and then you can kind of see a better idea. If you want to spin around, just simply hold down the control key and your mouse, and then what you can do is spin around the different positions. Now what this is good for is it gives you ideas of where the dips in the valley. Now you know yourself, if you're looking for gold, you want the lowest part. So for example, we have the river comes down this way. Somewhere around kind of here will be a good spot. Kind of goes up around a bend here, but this kind of bendy section here would be a good spot. Now, another thing as well, if you're looking for a particular spot on a river, so if you're looking for a particular spot on a river and you find this on satellite, you say, yep, this is where I want to go. What you can do very simply is if you hover over the section you want, right click and click what's here. And when you click what's here, it'll then give you the coordinates. Now, if you click on that, then what will happen is on the sidebar, it'll then give you the exact coordinates. Now, what you can also do as well, which is handy, is if you have an iPhone or Android phone and you're logged into your Google account on your phone, what you can do is you can save those coordinates and give it a label. And what that'll mean is when you go into Google Maps on your phone, it'll give you that location, and you can just walk yourself directly towards that location, which is a handy one. It just kind of means that rather than being out of location and trying to figure out, well, where exactly is the river, or where exactly was it looking, it's just kind of a handy one there. That's certainly one option you can do. So coming across then to another program we have, which is the Ordnance Survey. Now, I'll leave the address in the description below. This again is the area for Devil's Glen. So what we're going to do here is you can see the mapping is slightly different because this is designed by the Ordnance Survey as opposed to Google Maps. So it's got a slightly different layout. There's a couple of different options here you can actually look at. So for example, you can look at the satellite from 2005, and it gives you the layout for 2005. What you can also do is if you go back to your coordinates here, see the way you've got on here, it'll give you the exact coordinates you have. There are programs you can get that can change the Google Maps coordinates into an easting northing, which is the concept that that's used by the Ordnance Survey. So again, you can have a look here on the satellite for 2005. Let's say, for example, if you heard that back in 2000 or 1995, somebody else was up there and had found a considerable amount of gold, and you wanted to see what the landmass looked at. So what you can then do is come over to here to Ordnance Survey, and you can then go back and see what the landmass looked at. So if we just compare there, so you can see here in 2005, there's not quite as many trees here because trees have been cut back, but you can see then 5 years previous there was loads of trees there. So it just means you know that the river hasn't necessarily cut through there. Then we can go back to 1995 satellite. Again, this is old style film that was put together. The other one as well is you can go to the 6-inch map. Now, the 6-inch map, as far as I remember, is 1865 and onwards. The 6-inch map, black and white, again, goes back even further. So you can see where it actually shows you the original path the river took. So we can see here, where there's actually a tributary of a river joining this river. But if we come back to the regular street view, you don't actually see that river there at all. So that's a handy little one to watch for. See, well, it says this is Devil's Glen. You can see the river there. It doesn't actually show you the tributary there on this position. But again, if you go back to the black and white one from 1865, then you can see the actual tributary. So this is often a handy one. You can use this on any location. It doesn't necessarily have to be Devil's Glen. I'm just using this as an example. So you can use this for this area here. So that's the Ordnance Survey. And then the last one then is the 25-inch, which is, again, even further back. And this gives you pretty much the direct path. On any of the rivers that I've been to that have used this mapping program for, they're very accurate. You can see here where it shows a little island here, a gravel bar off to the side. I've been to many of the rivers that I've been to that I've checked these mapping programs, they're extremely accurate. So for not to have technology back in those days, to be able to do that is such an achievement. So it's very good. The next program we're going to have a look at is the GSI survey. So this is just a little bit back. You see the way, actually, just another thing to point out on the mapping programs is, for example, here with Devil's Glen, so we have, just come back 1 second, I'll come back to the Street View. So on the Street View, if we come back up here, we can see that, should be come up to the reservoir in a second. So there we have the reservoir that's there. But if we go back to, obviously, to 1865, there is no reservoir. Back that far, you can see where the actual original path of the river went. So it kind of gives you a good idea of where the what was there on previous terms. So if you know which way the river originally went, then it kind of gives you a good indication of where the gold could be settling. Okay, so let's have a look at the GSI. So this is the Geological Survey of Ireland. Again, it's another mapping program you can use. And again, we're just going to use the Devil's Glen just as an example. Not necessarily saying that there's plenty of gold there, but it's just as an example we need to use something. So we're just going to zoom in. Okay. Okay, so we're back at the Varty River here for Devil's Glen. Now, this one is handy in the sense that there's multiple different options. It's more kind of advanced for kind of, I suppose, not necessarily geologists, but for people who really truly understand it. Having said that, it's not that complicated, so I'll show you here. So on this mapping program here, we have this option here for layers, and one of the things you can select is for mineral localities. So when you check that box, it'll tell you if there's any minerals in this locality, it'll tell you that. The other thing you can also check is the bedrock geology, and then that will then give you multitude of information. Now, I've worked with some geologists over the years and different positions, different jobs I've been in, and I've kind of got a rough understanding of it. Even I can't grasp much about this. What these lines here are is fault lines. So you'll see here when I click on it, should tell you. Okay, so it's telling you what's on either side. So this is the Devil's Glen Formation. It's telling you that it's shale. Telling you the rock formations. Anytime you see these lines here, these are generally fault lines. And what that means is that there's a fault in the actual where the underground. If you are living in an environment where there's earthquakes happening quite a lot, having a house on a fault line wouldn't exactly be a good idea. So that's that. The other one is there's multiple other options you can put in. For example, groundwaters, depth to bedrock. That would be a handy one. I'd love to know that, but it doesn't always show it on every map. If we take out the bedrock geology, it doesn't necessarily show you the depth to bedrock there. So just going to zoom back for a second to see if we can find any mineral localities just to show you an example. Okay, let's have a look here. So, for example, here we have slightly over toward Ashford. And you can see it's non-metallic, so it's telling you Argo, and it tells you where it was found, and that type of thing. So it is handy in the sense that if you're looking at an area, so you can kind of know what's what. Now, just because it doesn't have mineral localities in the area of Devil's Glen doesn't mean there isn't any. Like, for example, with Devil's Glen, and as example, I know for a fact, having been there, there is gold there. But just because it's not there doesn't mean it's not. Just it's not on the map doesn't mean it's not there. More than likely, the reason why it's on these maps here is because this was either tested. And for example, you can see here. And see here where it says production of roadstone bedrock, and there was a mining exploration company up there. So you can, it was a quarry, and in the process of quarrying, they happened to find this stone. So because Devil's Glen is a national park, there's no way there's going to be any exploration or quarrying similar to any other kind of national parks around the environment. So that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions regarding mapping programs or anything like that, do leave them in the comments below, and keep digging. Talk to you later.